And these little moments that we have in life, with every breath, inhaling and exhaling, there is a type of a circle that falls. It's the circle of ignorance, of formations, consciousness, the name and matter, the 6 senses which arises with that. And then we get into the contact. As soon as the 6 senses come into play, it arises contact. And contact arises feeling, and feeling arises tanha, which is called craving. And craving arises more and more of grasping, and more of grasping arises becoming, and then birth. But with birth, everything arises, lasts, and it starts to fall. The decay starts to happen. And with this decay, there's a sense of death. An actual death happens. And with this death, we take into our heart and mind that we need to go on from here and here and here. And so the ignorance starts again. So in these moments which life is made out of, the little perceptions that you have of different things, different thoughts that you have, feelings that you have, and body contact that you have is being analyzed. Actually, concentrating on body to body, contemplating on feeling as feeling, contemplating thought as thoughts, contemplating perception as perception is called in Dhamma the 4 foundations of meditation. So this talk that we had was based on that, the 4 foundations of meditation. Because when we analyze body, starting with our body, we give importance for certain parts in our body mainly. The entire body is important, but of course, there are certain parts that we feel that is the function, the complete function is based on this, which is eyes, ears, nose, tongue, then body as whole, and then the mind. And then when we give importance, we just don't only give importance, we create a desire, a valued feeling, a valued desire. And then when we can't maintain it in the exact way that we so wish it to be maintained, because with time, decay starts happening and then falling apart starts happening. So even with the body, when this falling apart starts happening, basically this change, when the change starts to take place, we don't want the change to take place. So we seek for new methods, new ways to keep the body intact. Yes, we need the medication. Yes, we need the basic things. But getting medication is one thing. Desiring for body is another thing. It's the desire for eyes. It's a desire for ears. It's a desire for nose, tongue, body, and mind. When we have the desire, and then when this desire starts to change, then we have the feeling of a not so good feeling inside. We have this feeling of agitation. We can't come to terms with things. Then we start getting angry about things. then we start hating things. And that is the feeling that we are trying to understand. The delusion we are trying to understand. The delusion that we are in, thinking that this body will be intact, will function exactly the way I want it to function until the end. We know that it will fall apart, but we are not ready to accept the change when it actually happens. That's because of the desire and the delusion that we have. And because of desire and because of this delusion, we have something within ourselves which are acting negatively towards agitation and towards not willing to accept and towards being angry and then towards hate. So in meditation, in Vipassana meditation, we try to understand the fact this body starts to change. And we accept the fact of the change in the body, which is only controllable to some extent, and the other extent we cannot control. So we try to accept that fact to begin with. Then interconnected with the body is the feeling, the contact of feelings. Feelings arises in three ways: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feelings. So these are normal things to have. You might at one time feel pleasant about something, unpleasant about something, or neutral about something. But what happens in our mind is we desire, crave, and try to grasp the pleasant feeling. And we are angry, and we dislike, and we completely put away the unpleasant, create hate in our mind with the unpleasant feelings. To the neutral feelings, we have this delusion. We think that, okay, this time it might not be, but maybe next time, maybe the other time, maybe the other time. We have this wishful thinking that one day it might be mine, and one day it will happen exactly the way I want it to. So the delusion part comes to the neutral feeling. And when these three feelings of pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral is been laminated with desire, hate, and delusion, then it causes suffering. Not the acceptance of body causes relief. The non-acceptance of body, change of body, causes grief. The acceptance, please write down your questions, I will answer everything. The acceptance of feeling makes you free, but the non-acceptance of desire, hate, and delusion causes grief and pain.
Can you say that again? The acceptance of feeling makes you...
Yeah, the acceptance of feeling of pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral brings freedom, brings calmness. But the non-acceptance, which comes through desire, which comes through hate, which comes through delusion, gives you pain, gives you distress.
Gives us grief, is that what you said?
Grief and distress, pain, whichever word you want to call it.
Pain.
And then the third level that we were talking about is thoughts. In meditation, this is extremely important that we accept thoughts as thoughts. We don't try to completely get rid of our thoughts or anything like that. We just accept that thoughts come into the mind. But being attached to the thoughts and going with the story of the thought is something completely different. By going ahead with the story of the thought, then we get attached to, thoughts are one thing, desirable thoughts are a different thing. Hateful thoughts are a different thing, lustful thoughts are a different thing, elusive thoughts are a different thing, delusion thoughts are a different thing. You see, you have the thoughts which are just basically thoughts. This is a pen, this is a laptop, this is a CD, whatever, books, and just thoughts. People passing by, Peggy coming in, talking, whatever. These are just thoughts, actions and thoughts. But these thoughts we laminated with desire, hate, and delusion. When that happens, then that causes distress, that causes grief, that causes pain. When we are attached to it with desire, with delusion, and with hate. So in meditation, what we do is we try to separate the two. Thoughts just to be as thoughts. And we try to identify, in Vipassana, we try to identify how we get attached to the thoughts. In Samatha, what we do is we leave the thoughts as it is and concentrate on breathing. That's what we do in Samatha. Then this balances us, balances the mind, balances the body. And with a balanced body and balanced mind, more concentrated mind, more focused mind, we can analyze things there onwards. That is Vipassana. The analytical part is Vipassana. So in Vipassana, what we do is we take all the thoughts back again, and when we try to see how this gets built up, how it builds up to desire, it builds up to anger, it builds up to hate, it builds up to jealousy, it builds up to envy, how these thoughts build up moment to moment in action, in life, basically. And the fourth point was perception, how we perceive things, how we think of things. And perception of general normal things. Knowingness is one thing, but knowing culture, knowing countries, knowing individuals, knowing life situations is one thing. But desire towards the perception is a complete difference. Desire towards individuals, desire towards cultures, desire towards perception in general is completely a different thing. And when we don't have what we want, we start getting angry and then we start hating things. So perception turns into, general normal perception turns into desired perception, hateful perception, and delusion of perception. So that is what we are trying to analyze in meditation. How we perceive things at one time and how this gets added on with different things like desire, hate, and delusion. So these are the four things that we were talking about in the Dhamma discussion, and in Vipassana, we need to slowly analyze this one at a time. And how we do that is, first, you need to practice the samatha, which calms, which helps you to concentrate. And then with this concentration, then when your mind is completely still, then you take in, you let your mind just wander. And then it will wander to a thought where, oh, I need to get this email done. And who is it for? Then you start analyzing. Oh, it's to do with my work. Okay. But, Catherine was trying to be too smart and trying to tell different things about me to different people. So I need to send this email. So now something gets cooked up in the mind, basically. And then something starts to you start to feel not so good about the situation. This not so good feeling, unpleasant feeling, turns into a little bit of jealousy, turns into a little bit of anger, turns into a little bit of hate. You need to analyze the process the mind is following. It's like you are in one place and you quietly watch how the thought processes develops into attachment, develops into desire, develops into delusion and anger and hate. You sit in one side and watch this process happening. Now that is vipassana. Okay? So that is what meditation is about. Building yourself up to vipassana so that you can analyze the situations in life. And that gives you clarity. And then you start to think, why did I start doing this in the first place? Now, why did I feel jealous in the first place? What am I trying to maintain for myself? For my self-esteem, for my ego, for my desire? What am I trying to maintain? And then I have a not so very good feeling about Catherine and a little bit of envy and jealousy about Catherine. What am I really wanting here? Because what I desire here, if I understand that, and if I understand the basis of it, the creation of desire, then hate can be expelled slowly but surely. Then I begin to understand why I'm having these feelings of jealousy and envy and hate and anger, how this gets developed. Okay? Yes.
Hate is in the mind, right?
Yeah, it's all in the mind.
Um,
All of this.
and is hate, is that our anger not to accept change?
Yes. It turns into hate. It develops into hate.
So when you say hate, you don't just mean hating somebody else, but hating change and
Hating change because we actually hate change.
Yeah.
And we fear change more than anything.
Yeah.
We fear change so much. That is why we end up distressed.
Yeah.
We are not calm because we don't want things to change in our mind. We fear the change. We don't accept the change within ourselves and with the world at large. So when in vipassana, when you're meditating, you will be able to see through the water. You will be able to see the roots and the root causes of things. And that is an analytical mind, giving you all the sides of the story. It opens up the story basically, enabling you to judge, enabling you to make the right decisions later on. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what vipassana does. So to get to that only, we try to understand the four bases, the fundamentals of meditation, which is connected with body and body, feeling to feeling, thought to thought, and perception to perception, the four foundations of mindfulness. So it's a long process. We start with this and then slowly we progress in this. Okay? So we are able to do in these 3.5 days, nearly 4 days, what we are trying to do is get the theoretical part of it so that we practice it in meditation with vipassana. And when we go along with practicing the vipassana, what it does is we just sit in one place and meditate. And then we are able to practice this. And then we are able to take this to life, daily life, in and out. Then when actually Catherine comes, then then here you are again in a meditative mind, thinking, okay, she might say this to me, but am I going to react like this or am I going to react like this? It gives you the options. With a trained mind, you're able to see things through. You're able to see things as it is. Remember last time we spoke about as it is? You're able to see through the clear waters, and that would open up different dimensions of thinking, of perception, of making decisions. And that has a complete effect. How you react on things, the action and the effect of it, the action and the reaction of it, the cause and effect in the entire process. Okay, so this is what we were discussing for this last 3 days. Now, any questions from this? From this or in general? 1 second.